Hello everybody, and welcome back to another nostalgic gaming. I've not released a nostalgic gaming video in quite some time, and mainly the reason is that I didn't actually have any more games at that point. I already went through the gauntlet of all of them, and it was quite a category to say the least. And now I feel like I've actually, over the course of the COVID-19 outbreak, I've actually had some more time, and I've spent a lot more time playing video games when I can, obviously, and I've actually gotten a lot better at them than I was before the start of it. Like last year, I didn't know what the hell I was doing if it wasn't Pokemon related. So, without further ado, let's get into this review and kind of look back on pretty solid finale to a franchise being Uncharted 4. And so I actually beat this game, which I know, right? Shocking that I actually beat a video game, because, I mean, you know, it's kind of a running joke at this point between my friends or whoever actually knows me out there that I cannot beat a video game that isn't rated E. Like, I suck, you know. And there is like an easy, medium, and hard. Well, actually, there's an explorer, but I'm not sure what that means. I did kind of a medium, so I went in there trying. So right off the bat, this is pretty good step in the right direction, considering, you know, yeah. First off, we used to look at these in nostalgic gaming when they had little pamphlets, but either this one didn't have it or they just don't have them anymore. But anyways, it's a huge step in the right direction when it comes to graphics, right? Uncharted 3 had, to me, some of the most garbage graphics out of all the Uncharted's, right? Which was crazy. Even Uncharted 1 had its moments, right? But Uncharted 3 had so many glitches, and when there's 3 different chase scenes in Uncharted 3, and they were so bleh, you know, like you would just glitch out. And you know, it's funny, in the remastered version in the PS4, it really hasn't changed too much for that. We'll get into that a little bit more, but just that out of the way, that was the last game before this release, which was back in 2011 when I was a freshman, so quite a long time ago. And this just blows it out of the water, right? The first mission, you know, you're right off the bat in the water. You're going. You're like, oh, I don't even know this guy. You're like, geez, Nathan, freaking Drake. Who'd you get into, you know, connections with now? We find out later it's his brother, which is kind of shocking considering he never brought him up before. And then we, you know, go from there. We go into the water chase, and, you know, we have some, you know, levels when he's a kid several times, and it actually plays, the story in this game plays pretty great, right? The first one had its flaws, mainly, had a lot of pros, but the main flaw to me was that we didn't really know the bad guys that well, and they were inconsequential and they didn't really matter, right? And you're just kind of rushed into that, right? And it was a very small net where you're doing as an explorer. In Uncharted 2, I think they did great with the story, but not so much on the wittiness and the banter, and, you know, it was a little bit less, a tiny bit, anyways, and it was, that part of it was rushed, right? You know, the camaraderie and all that, you know, and the whole combat part of it, right? I think the combat was a little bit better in Uncharted 1, and then comes Uncharted 3, which kind of suffers from both of these, right? So then what happens in Uncharted 4, right? Well, Uncharted 4 does a fantastic job at the story. It, you know, you go from beautiful sceneries and in like Italy, and you know, you're going on the cliff, which is like, if this guy is an Avenger, his main skill would just be to climb, but, you know, you're going on the cliff sides, and, you know, there's banter with his brother. And by the way, you can play Crash Bandicoot in this game, which is like the coolest thing to me. As playing a video game inside of a video game, like, I don't know why that concept is so appealing to me. But then after that, like, right, you go into these other levels, and there's so much more puzzles, and right, and there's more puzzles in this one than any other ones, which is kind of cool. And they're all pirate related. That's also really cool. There is a main goal of trying to find this treasure. And you know, when you're going into the snow, and you have different gear, and well, you have like this grappling hook. That's a new feature that's not that great. And then the one that's even trickier is the little pick thing, and you got to pick it in. You know, there's only a handful of levels that were really, really irritating. The Jeep thing was kind of irritating because you had to do the winch and all that, which was it was okay, but it's nah. I mean, by the way, the Madagascar, that was gorgeous. I mean, that reminded me a lot of Utah and Zion. The soil is kind of like that kind of material. That's like that kind of reddish earth. So it kind of brought me back to being there, which is kind of cool because you know now that there could be possibly another lockdown increasing on the looming around. So it's kind of like nice. I can visualize traveling even if I'm not traveling, right? So there was never more locations in any other game. There was never more characters. I didn't really care for the villains that much, but there was actually stake. The whole prison level, I love how you're killing guys, and then his brother lied to him, and so it doesn't matter, and it felt to me, this was the first console game I've ever beaten, which seems sad, but when I actually reached that pinnacle of the pirates, I'm like, I actually did it. I found, I can't even remember his name, the main pirate, the guy that was teamed up with Thomas too, basically, that pirate, Henry, I almost said Henry Ford, but Henry something. I don't know. But in real life, he actually did have a treasure that was massive. He was actually, there's, for some reason, Forbes released a top 10 pirate. How much would they have had nowadays? And he was like the first one. So he was the richest pirate. So I love how they played on actual events and the whole Thomas 2 thing. And he just seemed so tired. He seemed like Wolverine in the last, in his Logan movies. Just like, oh, I don't care about like any of this. I'm tired. Let me retire. Like, like that's how he felt. Like his brother just kept dragging him into this, and he's like, all right. Because I mean, he was like doing rebarb and like the diving levels, and the diving levels. I mean, they're so. I'm not really sure why we had a diving tutorial level. But that's okay. The cutscenes are really long. I mean, this is usually Uncharted games around 4 hours. This is double that, or well, 4 times that, I guess, because it's around 16, 17 hours, right? And it's kind of flies by, right? Some of it does. Probably the most irritating thing that I can specifically remember being, staying in my mind is when, after you grapple down, towards the end, right before you get to the boss battle, you grapple down, you use that crazy pick thing, which you can easily fuck up, you go down it, and then you kind of go around the corner, right, and you drop in, and right when you drop in, it's like you're sliding down, and then there's like this, this jump thing, and oh my god, I probably did it about 25 times. My dad during these Zoom meetings were probably like, oh my god, what the hell's going on over there, because no matter what video game you're playing, you're going to rage at certain moments, no matter if it's Call of Duty, a story game like Uncharted, or freaking Minecraft, you're going to just lose your mind over any single thing, and that's what was killing me, man. Pretty much other than that, it's pretty smooth sailing. I love how you actually get these little journal pages, although they don't mean anything. The treasures are a little bit harder to find compared to Uncharted 1, and I think it was 3 that were really, really easy to find the treasures, so they kind of did what they did on Uncharted 2. I think it's a fantastic game. I know people are probably dead tired of me talking about Uncharted at this point, but I love it. It's probably my favorite gaming franchise besides Jak 2, and I haven't really got into Fallout, but I love what Fallout presents in the Megalodon arc that I've seen so far. So honestly, I would say it's like 8.7 out of 10. It does a fantastic job of storytelling. It has an epilogue even with his daughter. You kind of feel for this guy at this point. He's like, damn, this guy's married and he's got a daughter. Like, I kind of feel happy for him, even if he is a fictitious video game character, right? But that's just how this year's going, right? So anyways, I'll see you guys till next time, and hopefully next week I do another video game review. Nostalgic gaming. It's a game from 3 years ago, so I can still consider it to be nostalgic gaming. So I'll see you guys till next time. Bye.